So the exhibition is called the Debtor's Portal, and it's a body of work that I kind of see myself in this body of work more as a filmmaker in this instantiation of the work. And as a filmmaker, I'm very interested in the idea of how time is performed in films. And the effort of most of these works is to paint kind of a picture of, the temporality of capitalism. How can we experience it as a matter of time? So that's the idea of, the endless, incessant run of Elon Musk downstairs, where you continue with that drive to upstairs. You see the figure of the car dismantled, exploded on the staircase, and you enter into the hall of mirrors of free to choose, and you time travel to the future. And then when you get to this room, there's a moment of maybe recess and sitting with a lot of reading. Many books were kind of like my own references for my research, kind of people I feel like I've been in conversation with either directly or indirectly through this research. So it's kind of a ghostly environment where, all these conversations are happening. So I would love for people to experience this time that's curated in this way from downstairs throughout the show. The medium I use most in my art practice is film and video, with sort of attention given to animation. And I work quite a lot with game engines, simulated environments, creating kind of like sci-fi scenarios on game engines and through animation. I think in a way, I feel like these alternative realities have become part of the fabric of how we experience the world anyways. So there is a way that simulation has seeped through our everyday experience of life, through our engagement with media, social media. We live in different bubbles of virtual reality. And I think for me, working through animation and game engines actually allow me to kind of get more into, or like play in a more kind of like exaggerated way with the ideas of world building that are already in practice around us. So when we think of these, capitalist figures like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, they're each in their own way, they're some sort of world builders. So as an artist, I'm interested in trying out my world building, like against their world building, adjacent to it, through it, and find some sort of a relationship between these different worlds that are out there. The first thing they will encounter is the piece called Teslaism, Economics After the End of the Future, which is installed downstairs. So you enter into game engined world, a simulation where you watch Elon Musk and his self-driving car kind of running incessantly in a landscape for about 30 minutes. There's an experience of time and movement that pulls you into this world that is being created throughout the gallery space in the 2 floors. It's an invitation to walk into this simulated world. So Free to Choose is a science fiction film that takes the idea of credit banking system as a time-traveling machine. And it references, it's kind of the starting prompt is from a quote by the Greek economist, ex-minister of finance, Yanis Varoufakis, in a book that he wrote to his daughter on teaching her about economy, where he says, if the entrepreneurs of today are time travelers, the bankers are the travel agents, time travel agents. So this is really the starting point of the piece, and it goes through the history of neoliberalization in Hong Kong, how capitalism developed in Hong Kong as this exemplar of neoliberal practice and the way it was cherished for so long in the eyes of these economic thinkers as the best example of privatization. But playing through this story of a person, a banker, a venture capitalist who tries to go to the future to borrow money from himself, his older self, to save his company from bankruptcy. I think the logic is a bit more metaphorical than literal, but it's just the basic fact of like how credit works. Like credit works on the basis that there's no material money present right now, but somebody trusts that your future self is opulent enough that can return that money. So they lend you the money on the basis of your trustworthiness. So there's this idea of trustworthiness that the banker is the gatekeeper of, that enables some people to have more access to this future capital versus others. So there is kind of a political idea maybe in the work which tries to paint a picture of like some kind of condition where there is no asymmetry of this access to future, where there is economic justice on the level of trustworthiness and who can do the time travel. So there are these like activists in the film. They're called credit activists, and their slogan is time travel for all. So in this room, we have a setup for a Weird Economist platform, which is a multi-authored research-based platform that brings in a collective of several researchers, artists, thinkers, writers who think in different ways about the weirdness of economy or how art and finance and economy form a relationship, how to resist financialization as artists, as thinkers, and how to deal with the fact that we're all occupied by these regimes from inside, and what does it mean to have a practice against it from within.